All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first episode of Financial Frontiers with Bruin Finance Society, your home for all finance-related news, updates, and events at UCLA. I'm your host, Cisco, and today we have a very special guest. He is none other than Mr. Chris Ramsey himself, the founder and president of Bruin Finance Society, or BFS as it's known. As this is our first episode, we'll go right ahead and start off with introductions. Of course, my name is Cisco. I'm a third-year economics major minoring in accounting here at UCLA. And an interesting fact about me is that I make music as a hobby. Now then, Chris, would you like to introduce yourself?
Let's do it.
Right.
I'm Chris Ramsey. I'm a third-year math and economics major here at UCLA. I'm originally from Kansas. Moved out here. I also like to make music, but classical type music on the piano.
Ooh, interesting.
True honor to be here today on the first Financial Frontiers podcast. I know this is something that we've been working on for a while.
Yeah, long time in the coming.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, great to be here, and I'm excited to do it.
Awesome. Well, let's get right into it then. Let's start off with an overview of Bruin Finance Society. So, what exactly is Bruin Finance Society, or BFS, and what do you all do?
Yeah, I think the first thing to talk about is just is just how we were founded, because I think that story of how we were founded is integral to what BFS is.
Sure.
So coming to UCLA, UCLA is a very big school. There's a lot of students, 30,000 students.
Definitely.
And there's a lot of clubs that do exist here, that are business and finance related. But they are all focused on just one or a few careers, and are most of the time very, very selective. So you have clubs that have like a 10% acceptance rate, 5%. I've even heard of clubs that'll have like a 1% or sub 1% acceptance rate, which is kind of insane.
That's
right?
absurd.
No, it is. Especially like when everyone who's applying is already like a UCLA student. So they already had to go through a difficult application process with their own sub 10% acceptance rate. So that just doesn't really seem to make sense, because I think most freshmen, including me coming in, want to have the opportunity to just learn. Just want to be able to learn about the wide variety of different careers that are available. All these different career possibilities. And also just meet people, right? Be part of a community.
Yeah.
And so, and that's what I personally want. As Cisco, I know you kind of felt that way coming in as well. And as a university, I think the most important thing is you should be here to learn, and just have those experiences.
100%. Yeah, I agree. And BFS is great when it comes to helping students transition from high school to college, or from community college to university, right?
Yeah.
I think that transition period is very important.
Yeah.
And BFS helps with that by educating students on all these diverse career fields, because not a lot of freshmen know exactly what they want to do.
Exactly.
Right? Not everyone has it planned out what they want to do.
That's totally okay.
Yeah.
You don't
totally
have
fine.
to have it planned out. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. I came in not knowing anything. I had no idea of what consulting was or what investment banking was. That stuff I just learned through organizations like BFS.
Yeah.
BFS was actually very essential in my own personal development and career growth. So it was through the workshops that BFS offers that I was able to learn more about these different fields. I think it's just super important. From the beginning, I felt very welcome to the community here at BFS. Starting off with the team, I remember all the way back in the spring quarter of 2023, I was still getting adjusted to UCLA culture, and it was just a very welcoming community.
It's a very nice way of putting it, but I like it. And that's why BFS exists. Is that that's what we do, is we have general meetings, where you can come in, listen to presentations from guest speakers, from people who have industry experience, or who have a lot of internship experience or professional experiences. You can just learn about all these different careers. So, it's really great, because you just go in and you have like every single week, it's a new career, it's a new recruiting tip, how to build your resume, how to do interviews, what's consulting, investment banking, corporate finance, accounting, just all these things, being able to go in and just learn that, and you get basically like a crash course, in everything that you should know coming in, right?
Right.
And then the second part of it, like you talked about, it's community, right? So
yes.
You're coming in and in in a school with 30,000 people, it's not easy to I think be able to find like a community where you can call yourself home sometimes. It's a very big school.
It's very difficult.
300-person classes. But I think people want that. People want to be able to see the same people regularly, and be able to form those connections. And it's not just about networking, or career stuff. It's just about making friends, and being at home. So we have a lot of socials for that. We have our new families program that we're launching, where you can get grouped in a kind of tighter circle, within the BFS community. And just all these different opportunities to be able to meet other people, to make friends with people, to be, part of a supportive community and to feel like you belong. And I think that's something I'm really proud that BFS does.
100%. That's super important, right? Like I mentioned before, the transition period. Me personally, it was really hard on me. Going away from home. I remember coming to UCLA first time. I didn't really know many people. It was just something for me personally that I had to tell myself that I had to, get out of my comfort zone and just try new things. And I found a welcoming community here at BFS. So, ever since I've been in BFS, like it's just been an immense amount of support for my career development and growth. I'm very proud to see like the growth that, not only BFS has instilled in me, but people that are also part of the BFS community, and just the immense amount of growth that the organization itself overall has gone through is just amazing to see. It's truly a huge accomplishment, and something that I got to give you props for.
Thanks, Cisco. And I think
definitely.
you can take a lot of credit to being
you.
With us early on and just helping us develop out so many things in the community part of BFS.
Yeah.
And just for context in terms of where we started, so we started in winter quarter of 2023. That back then it was just a few freshmen, who were just kind of trying to figure something out, right?
Right.
Who wanted to create something good, but didn't really know a ton about clubs, careers, anything. But we had that mission, right? We had that idea, and that I think that founding idea of accessibility, and an open landscape is just so important and so empowering, and I think it really motivated a lot of people, including me, and you too, Cisco, to be creating this environment and to do the work necessary to build it up. So spring quarter 2023, that's when we actually launched. So we started speaking in all these classes. We did like all these different marketing things. Had professors send out emails, and we were able to get I think 300 or 350 people just in that first quarter, who signed up. So it happened very fast. And then we had a couple of general meetings, so those workshops, and then flash forward to today, so a year and a half later. We're still having those workshops. We're having more of them than before. They're higher quality now that we have some experiences and can kind of provide input, for our guest speakers. And we also have just so many socials, our families program, the podcast, the BFS stock market game, which I think is so cool. And I think we had like 70 or 80 people do it last year. That's a lot of fun as well. And we're just constantly, expanding to new areas, doing new things. We have, I think, 30 people on our board right now, who are all just working in club operations, who are just doing a different aspect of putting on BFS. And we have 1,500 general members, so people who are on our mailing list, a lot of people who are attending our events, who are benefiting from the different services we have.
Definitely. BFS is continuing to expand and grow every month.
Yeah.
It's really amazing to see the growth and development that BFS is going through. I'm excited. I'm excited to see where BFS goes, what direction it takes these next upcoming few years. Speaking about that, actually, what do you hope to accomplish with BFS with your remaining few years, and what do you expect to see after you graduate and BFS continues to grow, like without your presence here?
Yeah, that's a great question. A lot of sleepless nights, just thinking about that one. What's gonna happen to BFS? But yeah, so I'm a third year right now, and so I'm gonna graduate. I plan on graduating a little bit early, so December of my senior year. So assuming that happens, I'm not going to be president of BFS next year. So next year will be the first year that we have somebody who's not me, who's president of BFS. And at the same time, some of the original co-founders of the club are also going to be kind of stepping down from their exec roles. So it's going to be a big turnover. It's going to be a big change. And for the first time, we're going to be kind of handing it off and having somebody else take the reins of BFS.
Passing off the torch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I think, I'd say I'm optimistic, I'm a little bit cautious just because, it's going to be different, right? And, and I think I won't be able to as directly oversee everything, but I think that's a good thing too, because I think that the more people that we can have, who are able to be part of BFS and contribute to BFS, who can keep, hopefully keep the things that we're currently doing and also expand into other areas as well and provide their own ideas. I think that every single one of those ideas and new things that we do, it's going to be just so valuable and so important. And I think, but when we do have more people who are running the club, that's just going to help us become a better and better club and just, help students more and more.
Let's talk about the other things that BFS provides within the community.
Yeah.
So of course we talked about the workshops and the meetings, but let's talk about the socials a bit more. Let's talk about socials, the dining hall runs. Again, that's a very popular one.
Yeah. So I think the dining hall runs are something that they're probably my favorite BFS social. And there's all these other socials that we do, and we do kind of these cool things where we actually like travel places. But the dining hall runs are just like, they're simple. They're casual. After every single one of our general meetings, we just invite everyone who attends. So it's open to all UCLA students. Everyone who attends can just come with us to a dining hall on the hill. Partake in great UCLA dining food. #1 dining in the country. And just go there and just meet other people, talk to other people. And I think that a lot of the time in professional clubs, and including, when I first founded it, I was kind of very focused on the professional side, right? About like people, people need to learn things, right? People need to learn about this, learn about that, and
after all, that is our mission.
It is, and I think that it's very important, but it's also important to have balance, it's important to have social opportunities for people. It's a very big club, it's a very big school. But I think it's important that people can just meet other people, talk to other people, not just network, but also make friends. And I think the dining hall runs, just being able to just regularly go out and just talk to people through that, and meet people through that is just so great. And it's something that I know a lot of people have done and really enjoyed.
Yeah, I agree. It's a great way to de-stress. Having that balance is super important. Just focusing on your academics and careers, it can be very stressful. And at the end of the day, if you're just focusing on that, it could be very unhealthy for you.
True, yeah.
So it's just important to have initiatives like that. And, while that isn't, explicitly part of our mission statement, I think it's super important to just have a community that has balance. Yeah. And having those initiatives are super important when it comes to, meeting new people and just meeting people that have similar interests as you. I've personally met a lot of my friends from this community, people that are interested in the same stuff as me. Like Chris, I actually met Chris through this organization, and guess what? It turns out he's also a musician just like me. So, the people that you meet here it's a very special thing.
Definitely.
These socials and dining hall runs have been a very great key component of BFS, and it's something that's helped me a lot too, getting adjusted to UCLA and the culture here, and just getting to meet new people. Let's talk more about the stock market game. Actually, I heard you briefly mention that.
Yes,
Let's talk about that a little bit more. What exactly is that stock market game?
Right. So the stock market game is this thing that we do where any UCLA student who wants to join can sign up, and they're given $100,000 of. It's not real money. It's not their own money, luckily. But yeah, they have $100,000 in this account where they can buy stocks, sell stocks. I think this year we've increased it to, you can do shorting and you can do margin investing too, which I think is very cool. I think the margin investing rate is maybe like 8%. So it's, it's not cheap, but it's a fun thing you can do. So you can invest in these different stocks. And you can just kind of see, how you stack up against other people in the BFS community. I think last year we gave away a pair of pretty nice headphones. I think is the prize, and I think this year, we're still thinking about the prize. But so many people join the game. It's a lot of fun to do.
It's very fun.
It is, and I just remember last year at BFS, I just heard people just every day I just heard somebody talking about Chris, look at my thing in the stock market game, right?
Look at my portfolio.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a lot of fun, and also I know this year, Cisco, you're working on some educational material.
So actually, in terms of the stock market game, right? For those of you that are listening in right now, if you're interested in learning more about the stock market, we're actually going to be hosting some stock market workshops pretty soon. I'm actually spearheading the stock market game. I should have said that from the beginning, but yes,
it's all right. It's a twist. It's a twist.
That is
in the middle of the podcast.
Plot twist. Yeah. So I am in charge of the stock market game, so I will be leading that. I believe it ends at the end of winter quarter, if I'm not mistaken. But we'll be having several workshops throughout the year to educate students more on the stock market and all these different terms, what is margin trading, what is that, short selling, all that kind of stuff. So keep on the lookout for that. And there is also a stock market game interest forum out there as well. So if you aren't already part of the game, please sign up. I think we'll probably have the link somewhere in the newsletter. So keep an eye out for that if you're not already in the community. And it's definitely a very fun way to get more involved with BFS and the community we have here. So yeah,
and it's and I think one great thing about the educational material this year is just like that can also just be such a valuable financial literacy resource too.
Yeah.
So not just career wise, but also just knowing about how to invest. It's so important, and I feel like people sign up for things, including me. We'll sign up for investing apps. We'll sign up for Robinhood. But you need to have that knowledge in terms of like what to invest in, right?
Yeah.
Like how do you actually properly hedge your portfolio? How are you doing this in a way where it's are you doing long-term investing, short-term investing? All this stuff's important, and something that you don't really learn through like your regular like GEs, It
is.
I think most of the time. So yeah, it's definitely a great game. Highly recommend signing up.
Like Chris said, it's something that isn't necessarily taught in a classroom setting. Yep. So I think it's one of those things that I personally say is pretty important to know, given our day and age. So I think investing is a very important skill to know.
Yeah, definitely.
Join the game. We have a lot of big prizes. We're still thinking about what the prizes are, but trust me, they are big. And so please join.
yeah, it's just a great experience too.
Definitely.
So I think what was the second topic we were talking about? Was it the
let's talk about the podcast a little bit more.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Okay.
So, it's like, BFS is just starting a podcast all of a sudden. Yeah, this is our first episode, and there are many more episodes to come later on. I will be continuing to host the podcast. We'll have more guest speakers in the next upcoming weeks, and I'm excited to see where the podcast goes.
People can listen in and just just hear like the advice and experiences of a lot of different guests who come on.
Right.
And I think that's really valuable. The most valuable information you get, honestly, career-wise, probably won't even be through your classes.
Yeah.
Might not even be through clubs. It's just from talking to people, right? And just listening to people. Yeah. And a lot of the times, once you've talked to enough people, once you've done enough like coffee chats with people, and you've spoken to them and asked them questions and stuff, you'll start to hear a lot of similar things, a lot of similar themes. And and once you hear those, like just in my own experience, it is so incredibly helpful. With my own internship experience and stuff, in recruiting, just being able to talk to people, who've given me advice in terms of like how to go about these interviews, how to build up your resume, how to, just do all these different things. It's just been so useful.
Yeah, I agree. Those skills are very important. Having a sharp resume, knowing how to write a cover letter. Yeah. Just having those like networking skills as well. That's super important, especially when it comes to this realm of finance related fields. It's super important. The people that you know.
Yeah, and there's also like I think there's something like soft skills too, and I'm sure I guess we'll talk about this later. But yeah, just like so many soft skills is important to have.
Definitely.
And just being used to talking to people in a professional setting. Being able to just kind of just network at these different fairs. And speak to people in meetings. All that's very important, and it's stuff that you don't really, you don't really learn like leadership or speaking that much.
Yeah.
But it's something that you just experience it, right? And by experiencing it over and over again, I think that's just so helpful. To actually be able to do it.
It is. And for those that aren't like as involved with BFS covers all of this. Mm-hmm. Everything that we just mentioned, BFS starts you off literally from ground zero.
Yeah. And then that's the great thing is like no experience coming in.
Exactly. No experience.
And then I think a lot of people from BFS have had really great outcomes. And Cisco, I know you worked at KPMG last summer.
I did.
Which is pretty awesome.
Great experience.
I think that's one great thing about BFS.
Exactly. And BFS has taught me a lot of the things I know now when it comes to just the world of business in general. I think it's really an awesome way to just get yourself involved in the world of business. You don't even have to necessarily be coming from like a major that's related to business, economics, or anything like that. You can literally be any major, and if you have an interest in finance, BFS welcomes you with open arms. We are an open community here, and anyone listening in right now that wants to get more involved, we have a lot of events coming up, a lot of future projects that's coming up for BFS.
Yeah, expanding into a lot of areas.
Expanding into a lot of different areas. Yeah. We have the families program that we're starting up as well. I know you briefly touched on that as well. So yeah. Now let's pivot into a different topic here.
So let's do it.
All right. So we've talked a lot about Bruin Finance Society, what BFS does, and what we want to accomplish as an organization, right? Which, by the way, no application required.
That's right, no application.
Yep.
Open to all majors, no experience required.
Exactly.
All years too. So even if you're a transfer student,
all years too.
Great.
Yep.
You're welcome.
Yep. Everyone is welcome. Now that we've talked about Bruin Finance Society, let's talk more about you. You are the president and founder of BFS, after all. So let's learn a little bit more about you. Who is Chris? What's your background, hobbies? What's your career journey? Possible girlfriend?
Oh wow, we're getting to all the questions now. Yeah. So I guess I'm originally from Kansas. I think I mentioned that earlier. So that was a bit of a move out. From the suburbs there. Lived there almost all my life. And then, I come over here and, I like LA. It's definitely different living in a city as opposed to a suburb. Living, I guess, on a coast, next to a beach, where it doesn't get, down to 0 every winter and 100 every summer. But that is kind of the nice thing about living in Kansas is that once you've lived in Kansas, you can live anywhere, because you've experienced all types of weather.
Right.
But yeah, I think, that move out has been good. I think there's probably a pretty good chance I'll be staying in LA after college too. So I do like the city. In terms of hobbies, so I, play piano. I also play some other instruments, so I play cello. I like to compose music on it, kind of improvise on it. I play in an ensemble with the Music Education Club Slam, so there's people I met through there that I play with. And I'm also doing a Chinese music ensemble class right now, so I'm learning the sheng, it's a wind instrument. It's really interesting. It's a really cool instrument. It's like totally new to me because I'm used to either plucking a string, using a bow, or playing a key. But you're like you blowing into it, and you cover up certain holes and stuff. It's a little bit difficult to get the hang of it, but it's definitely a lot of fun. It's something that I'm excited to continue doing.
Yeah, it sounds very difficult.
Yeah. It's well, because the thing is, there's you have to like cover up multiple holes at the same time, But the holes aren't like arranged chronologically in terms of the scale, right? So like going up the scale, it's like notes all across the instrument. You're sticking your hand into the instrument, and you're like, what's going on right now, and then and then the teacher says, okay, well then now it's time for the sheng section to play, and we look at each other and we're like, oh no, but it's a good instrument, and honestly, I think that's one nice thing about UCLA is that like there's just so many different classes you can try out, and different things you can try.
There's a lot of music production classes here too. A lot of music industry courses. Are you involved in any of those, by the way?
So right now I'm just doing the ethnomusicology class in the Slam Club. I do want to take music industry at some point. So I've talked to the professor. He says he's going to give me a PT number for spring quarter to enroll in music production.
Right on.
Yeah,
awesome.
right.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah, and then Cisco, let's talk about your music experience too.
Oh yeah. Where do I even begin here? There's so many things I can say about this. Well, let's actually start off with how I even got involved with music in the first place. So it wasn't actually through music production directly. So I actually started off DJing. So I remember I got my first DJ set, I want to say 6th grade, 7th grade, so middle school, around that time. Yeah. Like I would have like some of these like mini live streams, right, that I would do. I'd go on YouTube. I'd post like mixes and stuff on YouTube as well. I think I had one mix that gained like a couple thousand views one time.
Nice.
So
there you go.
Yeah, it was really cool, and just like having that audience engagement was really nice.
For sure.
And receiving all sorts of feedback. Like it wasn't all positive feedback, but like that's just part of like the growth. But anyways, I slowly transitioned from DJing and I went into music production. So that started off my freshman year of high school. So I took a music technology class that my high school fortunately was offering. Shout out to Mr. Boaz, who was my teacher at the time. A lot of the things I know now when it comes to basic music theory and chord structures and scales and all that good stuff comes from him. So I literally, before this class, I literally knew nothing coming in. I had no idea of anything that had to do with music theory or how to create a basic chord. I had no idea. All of that stuff I simply just learned from taking this class. After I took that course for a year, I slowly started to expand onto my own thing. I had a job at the time. I was a dog walker, so I saved up some money and I started purchasing my own equipment. So like a MIDI keyboard, some speakers, that sort of thing. And then from there, it just took off. And I've been doing music ever since. Whenever I have the chance, the opportunity to just, make music, I just pull out my laptop and just make whatever's on my mind. Yeah. It's one of those things that, as a musician, I'm sure you can relate to as well. That, you sometimes just formulate ideas in your head. Yeah. It could be at the most random moments too. Like, let me tell you, there's been times like while I'm in lecture, and I'll think of like an idea, and I'll just kind of record my like what my brain is thinking. If that makes sense. Yeah. Kind of like the notes and the structure that's formulating in my head. Other times when I have the opportunity, right, like I'll just make it right there, then and there, on the computer. Just plug in the notes and all that stuff. So it really is interesting. How the creative process works behind it.
Definitely, yeah. And it's like for me, like sometimes I'll, if you open like the Photos app on my phone, you'll see a lot of different screen recordings, of the guitar or the piano in GarageBand, the app on the phone. Yeah. And it's just like a little like recording or a little jingle that I just kind of thought of, and I even like I've just woken up, like from I just taken a nap or whatever. I just wake up and I'm like, oh, that's such a cool idea, right? Right. And so yeah, and I think that's the cool thing about music too is that. And I'm sure this is the same for you, but if sometimes I'll get busy, with stuff, midterm season comes around, I think we do a lot of activities, professional stuff, educational stuff, social stuff. Mm-hmm. And you do get kind of busy with that stuff sometimes. And, even if it's been a few weeks or even like, months since I've really done that much musically, like I always come back to it, and I always make that time. And it's something that I think I'll just always keep with me. Yeah, I agree. Like, there's periods of time where, I just get so busy, like occupied with other commitments I have in my life. There's just so many things going on, especially in college too. There's just so many things that are out there, right? That you can take on and explore, and BFS being one of them. Right. One of those great options to explore for anyone that's interested out there. There's just so much to do. There is so much to do, and a lot of people ask me, like Cisco, you're into music, like you make music. Why are you not majoring in music? I have other interests as well, and for me, music is just a hobby. Yeah. It's one of those things that like I love doing. I have a passion for it. I'm not professionally like pursuing it right now, and I emphasize right now because I don't know where I'm going to take it in the future, whether that's professionally or not. But music will always be there for me. Yeah, and that's what I love about it. So, yeah. I think it's great to have, just have a lot of different things that you're doing, and to have diverse interests. Yeah, and it's and listen, if you just do one thing and you love it and you want to spend a lot of time with that, that's great. Mm-hmm. But just expanding your horizons and taking on, I guess, diverse things that maybe aren't even related to each other. Yeah, it's great. It just I think it just makes life so much more interesting. Exactly. Yeah. And like speaking about that, actually, like BFS like introduces you to all these different fields and career paths, and it's like you may be interested in one thing right now, but you honestly don't know what else is out there because there's just so many, right? It's not like there's like 10 different fields. There's hundreds. There is a lot. Learn all 10 fields, and then you're good, right? Let me just choose this one field right here. Yeah. Right. There's so many out there. Field number 6. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And being part of BFS for almost as long as it's been around for. Yeah. I still don't know like everything that's out there. Despite being like in all these different workshops and meetings and events and stuff, I still don't know everything that's out there for me. So it's just one of those things that you never stop learning. You're always continuing to grow. Yeah, for sure. And so coming in, I had no idea what I wanted to do. Didn't know what anything was. And then I kind of I started to explore through BFS, and I think through those GMs I was just able to learn about so many different career fields. Right. Notice different similarities, I guess, between different fields, and understand like the business finance landscape as a whole. About how there's these similarities, but also like some of them are very quantitative, right? Some of them are similar in these ways, different in other ways. Yeah. So in terms of my own experiences, I worked at I did a consulting project with a few other UCLA students for local caregiving education company, Canary Health. Yeah. Back freshman year, and that was a great project. They were very helpful to us, teaching us about consulting. It was a competitive landscape analysis. We kind of looked at the landscape of caregiving. Yeah. Sophomore year, I did an actuarial internship at Milliman, so Seattle Health. Actuarial, the actuarial field is kind of like risk management within the insurance. And so, very mathematical. It was a very great internship too, and I just learned so many technical skills. Got comfortable in a professional setting too, which is great. And then next summer, I'm interning at Boston Consulting Group. So I'll be doing management consulting. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. And, so I think that was, it was definitely a lot of work to prep for those interviews, but I think it was, it's something that I'm very excited for because it's, you just have the opportunity in management consulting, I think, to just touch so many different things, to try out all these different industries and just really have, I think, very diverse work. So something I'm very, very excited for sure.
That's very awesome, Chris.
Thank you.
To see, how your interests have changed over time, how you started off, at Canary Health, you said?
Yeah, Canary Health. Yeah.
Canary Health, and then you went to Milliman, and now you're going to BCG.
Yeah, exactly.
Very awesome. Yeah.
So let's see. I guess we probably should talk about some advice we have.
Yeah.
People, right?
Well, let's go back a step.
Oh yeah.
And let's not avoid this question here, Chris.
Okay.
Do you have a girlfriend?
Oh, we're getting to the big question.
Big question here.
I'm currently single. Yeah. So.
All right, ladies, you heard it here first. All right. Well, anyways, last question here to wrap up the episode.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for students that are interested in breaking into finance, or are interested in consulting as well, like you're currently doing?
Yeah. I think there's a lot of things I can think of, but number one thing is you have more time than you realize. Right? Even if you've already second year, third year, fourth year, even if you already graduated, you still have opportunities to pivot in your career, to explore different fields and to enter them, if you want to, and also if you like the field you're in, you can definitely move up the ladder in that as well. I think people come in and they assume that they have the next year to figure it all out, and you have so much more time than that. You're doing fine.
Yeah.
Other advice I can give, let's see, in terms of just searching for a career, it's just important to learn about all these different fields, network, talk to different professionals, and also just join these organizations if you have a chance, especially BFS. I think is great, but also just organizations in general. Where you can just meet a lot of other people, talk to them, and I think those are great. If you have the opportunity to do internships, I think those are great as well.
100%.
And then of course try to kind of explore different fields in that as well.
Yeah.
And then I guess the last piece of advice I have is in terms of your interviews, right, and those experiences. It's really, really important that you kind of focus on soft skills too. Right? People get so focused on I can do Excel, I can code. That's great, right? But in the interviews, but also they want to see that you can that you're able to just talk to people, that you can act professionally in a professional environment. That you're able to kind of keep your calm. If you're doing presentations a lot, you have to be able to do that. So I think that's the big thing too, is that there's it's more than just technical skills, right? Make sure you can interview well, and just practice for those, and I think you'll do great.
I agree. Thank you so much for the advice. I think we can all learn from that, and from your experience as well. These different internships that you've gone through, and again, BFS provides all this information and resources. If you have an interest in finance or consulting or whatever it is, BFS is a great starting point for that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And with that, we conclude the first episode of Finance Frontiers with Bruin Finance Society. Thank you so much, Chris, for coming to the podcast today. Do you have any last words? Any final thoughts here?
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited for Financial Frontiers, as well as just expanding and working on BFS in the future.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Chris. And for those interested in learning more about Bruin Finance Society, you can find more resources and updates on our Instagram page at Bruin Finance. Also, please fill out the interest form to stay updated. We do have a mailing list where we send out all our updates.
Yeah, so just check those out, and hopefully we'll see you around.
All right, right on. Well, thank you for tuning in, everyone, and we'll see you in the next podcast episode.